was living a lie. In the darkness, I was scared of the light. With no direction, I was running away. Step aside, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride.
What I'm going to do with you right now, if you consent, is we're going to do what's called a precircle, okay? And we're all just going to hear what you have to say about your issue. We have a new advocate here who's going to be listening, and so we just want to hear what you have to say about what's going on in your life. So you can start wherever you'd like.
Sure. Well, I have a son. He's Bill Jr. The mom wants to take him to a different city, which has already happened, and without the consent from court or my consent. I believe the man's got it right as well, but in this case, it doesn't seem like that. And I've been through many courts, and two of them they've been canceled because the evaluation has been taking longer, and a lot of slacking from the evaluator. And my kid's mom just decided just to move because she doesn't want to wait. And also, she's been helped by a lot of people, friends, family, saying just you need to just move. You don't have to wait for court or for that guy. Which I do understand that. I respect that. She can move if she wants, but not without my consent with my son. Our son is in between. I believe that I have a right as well. I believe that we couldn't done this in a cordial way. But in these days, human beings just do whatever they want. And I'm here to do justice. I believe there is justice. It takes a while. Might be sometimes some people don't see it. I have seen this in friends, people that I know. And if in my case, my situation helps somebody, I want people know there's always an answer, because we can do this in a different way. I already lost, my time. That time is back, is in the past. I cannot bring that time back. I lost time with my job, lost money from there. Now I'm starting a new job, 3 months now, and not getting that money through that time that I've been spent, go back and forth trying to figure out who can help. It takes time. And I wish Molly, my kid's mom, could understand this and could have done this in a nice way. Not just, doing this like whatever comes to her mind, whatever her family, friend says about all this. But I forgive the person as well, because I need to be forgiving if I did done something. But I'm here to do this in the cordial as possible when I do know it's already out of hand. It's already out of hand, and I'm here that I believe in God. If I can say this, I believe in Him. I do know that He doesn't like ugly. I do believe that. But with this, just by saying this, I don't wish nothing wrong to anyone or for that person. I don't, because I believe that my son deserves peace. We need to work as an adult. We have to work for the best interest for him, not for myself. I'm here as well, if I can help with this case to somebody, if I can advocate or help somebody, most definitely I can do. I used to be kind of like I'm helping people as an advocate as well through Father Project in Minneapolis. And I learned things through them to help other people that people didn't see their family, like guys didn't know how to connect with the mom. And some of them, at some point, they started just having that relationship with their kids' mom, and then help them. When you, I mean, when we help sometimes people, and you go in your own situation, things don't work that way. Why is that? I don't know. But my question is, can we do this together with somebody? If somebody, two people, coming together in agreement and can do those things, definitely we can. But we are so stuck. There are mentality is about what we think without, seeing how we hurt other people or how we hurt our children. I have one children, which is Bill, and I believe he deserves peace, but he deserves, and he's absorbed all this situation, and he's only 11. Eventually, he will know exactly what's going on. I don't have to tell him that. I do know that he knows these things, and he wants to see both parents. He wants to see both parents because I do know he loves both of us. But right now, in the meantime, I just want, just to just saying, that I've been doing all what I can is out of my hands. I don't have the funds for to hire an attorney, which I just say, I started a job 3 months ago. I was behind and stuff. If I didn't work, if I weren't behind, I could have been finding somebody by now. It could have been this dress might be in a different way, but now it's out of my hands, and pretty much everything is going just the way it's going. So I just want to pass that.
So, what's the mom's name?
Molly.
Molly. When did you meet Molly?
I met Molly in 2007.
So, was it a certain day that you can remember? Like, was it the fall, the spring? Okay. So, do you remember the exact date?
I met Molly in winter 2007. We date, well, actually 2000, almost 2006, if I can say. We date for a year. Then she became pregnant. And after that, that is just rough to say this, but it is what it is. So I was her very first man, first boyfriend. And she was living with the family the whole time, mom and dad. And she told me that she was pregnant, and I was so happy because I'm very proud of my child. I love him, and I was raised by my mom, my dad, and they always been there for us. So I want to do the same thing. I do know there's guys up there that want to see their children, but I just want to testify in behalf of the men. There are really men that really wants to be around for the kids, and I'm here for that. So she got pregnant, and she told me something that was really disturbed. That she doesn't want to have the kid because if their parents find out, his father, old mentality, I'm sorry for that, say they're going to kill me. And he has shotguns at home. Say if they find out that I'm pregnant, that something's going to happen. So I didn't know by the time, and I should not bring this, but it was something that will help somebody. So I said, we can work it out. And maybe just wait until December. She got pregnant in November, and we wait to in the December 2007 because my son born in July. So we tell them in front of the whole family to they not cast the whole scenario. So that's what I was thinking. I told her, I think we're going to tell them New Year's Eve, when the whole family is together, till they can stop doing whatever they're going to do. So there we go. And I started talking in front of the whole family, and I told them. And then the parents, the grandpas, they were shocked. Not to mention, I just saw the grandpa that he almost was about to fall down from the chair. And some of them and the family, people they were nice and cordial. Some of them, congratulations, everything was beautiful. But you can tell the atmosphere about the parents weren't happy. So after that, my son born, and after he born, she was living with me in Minneapolis. That's why my case is in Minneapolis. 2 weeks she couldn't lactate, she couldn't breastfeeding our son bill, and she was struggling a lot, and I tried to help him out. And we went to classes for the lacting and stuff, and sometimes they get overstressed, and then things was not going right in the moment. So I don't know how the silent, it was a call that she make, and so she called the parents, and they called the police as well. They might be I was doing something, and the landlord. By the time we were just in there, and all those papers are in a paper as well from the beginning. So they took our son. She moved, and I couldn't see my son for 3 months, and that was really hard. And my landlord knew somebody at the Father Project. And they told me that I can go in there and get a advocate, through other people, how to come in and become, to go to court and find ways how to, follow motions. And I did that. That's how I became. So I went to court, filed the motions, did all the papers that they just told me to do, and then after that we have a hearing. And that's when I started seeing my son. And we had an agreement in there that says that we have the legal joint custody, and she has the solo physical because he was little, which I agree because the kids need their mom when they're little, from 1 to 5, which is it's okay, for the mother to have because they need the mom a lot. After 5, they start growing. They already know the mom and the dad. So after that, we didn't do that, and I had only parenting time. In that parenting time, it was not the best. Because when she wants to go to vacation, whenever wants to do anything, and I'm not talking bad, I'm just saying how all this came to my life, knowing all this. And there was times that I could not see my kid because that. And there was a lot of threat. And now that he get older, by the time, probably the last 5 years, I started seeing my son more often because I became kind of realizing that I can just work it out with her or something and just tell her, can I please see my kid more often? At least every weekend, at least. That would be awesome. It might be that will give you time to you go do whatever you want to do, to give you free time. At some point, it works out, and they started working it out. And now, I came again to court, because she just moved without the consent because she found somebody, which I'm happy for her. I'm happy that she found somebody that she's going to get married. I'm happy. But the situation here is not about her. It's about our son. I'm fighting for my son. She can move anytime, whenever she wants. But my son is in between. And my son, I do know that he's sad. He doesn't show, but I know him. He's very smart. He's really good in school. He's been in this city. He's been in this city since the day one. I mean, not the day one, 2 weeks he left from Minneapolis, living with the parents. I mean, the grandpas and her mom. And I just live across from the border, which is like 10, 15 minutes away. And I always been see him, go to the school. It's easy for me to go to see him. To go see in the school, to do my things, pick him up on Fridays after school. And now, everything just went different. And now it's like I might go to court and I just get in the motion again and just telling exactly what's going on. And they say, why you're here? Because I've been following every single details that you guys require, which is like through email, do you want to get a mediation? She didn't want to follow that. So I got the email about that. The second one, just to come in an agreement to see if we can talk or we can go to with a mediation, and didn't work. And they just told me the next thing then is just do a follow motion. So I did it. And I got all the information in there. And that time that we have the court date, March 31st, our judge told Kissa's mom, Molly, not to move without the consent of judge or the father's consent. And she needs to remain where she's at. And that we're going to have an evaluator. They're going to come to see us in our house, in her place, my place, and this person has been taking forever. He looks like he didn't want to take the case. The couple or 3 times that I spoke with him, he says, Your case is gonna be the very last one, and I'm not too interesting, kind of like in your case, and this is gonna be the last. So for all this been happening, cancellations occur because our judge didn't have all this information because it's been taking and the delay has been so long, and I've been losing time in this and that, etc. She decided just to move. So after the whole situation just went that way, I went to court again and filed a paper, which is the called emergency motion. So I filed that, and they accept that. And they told me that she couldn't not move because it's already in place in court that says that she couldn't not move without the consent. Meaning our son, she can move. She has freedom to move, but she cannot move with Bill Jr. I was just thinking myself, well, if it were me that one of them could have done that, I would be in trouble. I will be in trouble. Look at this guy. Move, did that, I could have been in trouble. So I don't get it the law sometimes. So some people can, but other people cannot. I just kind of like confused. Because if in court we're just talking about coming in agreement and do things together, that's not possible that somebody just move because they want it. There has to be something in agreement. Say, father consents with the sign of this, that this person can move. And didn't happen. Because I'm not just going to take my son and just move. So, out of this, I have my son for a month. It was just temporary because she did that move without the consent. And then we have a hearing, an emergency hearing. In this emergency hearing, her family hired an attorney to turn everything back because they know the behaviors. And then she explained to our judge exactly why she moved, because mom, dad, and friends and everyone were telling her to move without any consent. So if somebody else tell me what to do when I'm an adult, so technically I'm not following the laws. So whatever the law says in there, then it's just, so I can just rip the laws then? I don't think I can do that. Because if I do something wrong, I will be punished. And I don't see clear the judgment here. And I still have another court. But now my son is back with his mom. And in a paper says temporary that she can move to that city she moved, which is in Mankato. And it's far away. I went to the school over there to get some papers because they cannot give me information until I just be present with my physical presence, with my license and everything. They can give me an ID to I can create something. To I can see how he's going to school and studies and all those things. So I went there. It took me like an hour, 45 minutes on a summertime. Now the winter time's coming. How long it's going to take? In the middle of the road, I lost signal on my phone a few times. So I have a lot of concerns. How this system work? How are we working? I'm not putting down here nobody. I just wanted to come in and realize that sometimes we're just not doing only damage on one person. We're doing damage to the little ones. They don't deserve that. They're our child. They don't deserve that. Why we have to make them feel that way? I feel my son. I feel him. Now I don't see him every weekend. Now I see every other weekend. And it's tough. When he leaves, I see him too. And he knows it. But one day he's going to grow up and he's going to find out. I just want to, just to have the answers. At least to do this in a cordial way. Not because me. It's because he does deserve that. Our children deserve that. Now I cannot even go to pick him up on Friday. It takes like an hour, 45 minutes that time because they have some delays. And by the time I get off from work, which is at 3:30, and he get off around 2:40, by the time I get there, who's going to watch it? Nobody watch no kids after school. So everything has changed. And I can imagine how I feel myself as an adult. I can imagine how he feels as a children, as a child. Confused. What's going on here? What's happening here? But it's not in my hand. I haven't done all this. I didn't move without consent. Somebody just moved just because they want to do it. It's just their way or no way. And I wish nothing wrong for anybody that do those things. They do wrong. But we're here to do things in a properly way. And that's what I'm sharing my story because I do know that it's going to help. It's going to help somebody. If it did help me, myself, just to say exactly what's going on in life, and I'm glad that I'm here because I can just express myself even for whatever is the reason we're here. But I'm here for that. And what I'm speaking here is from the bottom of my heart because I'm speaking with this that nobody's deserved any of the other. Because every case is different, but I do know that comes to a pain. And instead of coming to in peace and love, you don't have to love the other person. You have to come and just wish them the best. I wish to have that. To the other person really understand, hey, there's two parents that made this kid. Not alone. And I hear some people, have a rough time. And I hear some people that have their nice ways. Then the parents just coming in agreement and everything is worse. That's awesome. That's the kind of things I'm looking for. But it's not out of my hands. And that's what I need help. That's what I need help. And I believe there has to be some kind of sort of justice. And I'm here for those little guys that wants to see their parents, and sometimes they don't allow them to see them. I have 3 of them, and they're in a lot of pain. And I wish to help them. I wish to have the answers. It doesn't matter if black, white, or Hispanic, Asian, because 3 of them, they're in that category, and they still going through that. It doesn't matter what color you are or what race. We have to come in agreement with people to bring peace, not for us, but those children that deserve that. And that's my concern. If it were in my hands, I will give you love, everyone. But sometimes people don't want to accept the love back. And I just want to just to say that, just to tell you guys that's what my case is about. And I do know it's going to have a good end for the best Bill Jr. I do know he's doing good in that school too because he's smart. He's an amazing fella, an amazing boy. And he's been learning a lot of things that I didn't know too, which is Christ, is God. If I'm speaking right now, because it's true, the last 5 years, we both became to the Lord. We both became to the Lord, and we both were baptized through the church we're going. And that is such an amazing thing. Thank you.
So, let's go back to when you separated. I think you said you were living together and then the police came. Do you remember exactly what day that was?
That was, I believe it was Tuesday in the summertime. 2008. In July 2008.
Okay, so if we could get very, very specific about what happened, like the moment that I think you said you were taken away by the police. You were kind of
No,
okay.
they just came in to make sure.
But you tell me.
So they came. She called the parents saying that she needs to leave the postpartum, whatever they call when women are going like that stress moment, and came lacting. I tried to help, and she was telling me to go away. And then one of the times that I tried to come in and say that we gotta calm down, only thing I see just flying the silverwares. And my landlord
So what were you doing? You made a,
just throwing the silverware.
she was throwing the silverware in the house. Were you living together at the
Yes.
time? And was she just pregnant or was the baby born?
The baby born after 2 weeks.
Okay, so this is 2 weeks. You're living together, and she's you're trying to help her, and she suddenly starts throwing forks.
That's correct. So the police just came because through the parents, the grandparents, they want to make sure that we don't have involved in any circumstance or anything. But the police was already called to somebody look bad in there. So they just came to just make sure that she can leave the house in a properly way. That's when my landlord, Henny, told me, leave it like that. I'm here as the witness, and we're gonna solve this later on.
Okay, so at that point, she was asked to leave, and you were with little Bill.
No, what happened? That because she was the mom, and Bill was too little, they needs to go with her.
So at that moment, she left with Bill.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
And do you know what room you were in the apartment? Do you remember when you watched her leave?
Yes, that was in Minneapolis, uptown. That was in 33, 35 homes.
And so, just what was said or done at that moment when she was leaving with Bill, and you were in the apartment? What do you remember about that? What was said or done? Maybe said by you. Was it a goodbye? Was there a look? What was said or done by you or her at that moment, if you can recall, and try to get specific about when she was leaving with Bill?
What happened is didn't like that place. It was too small, which I agree, because you're not always gonna agree on everything. But I agree. It was small. Might be the place was too small for all three of us. And what she's saying that she wants to live with her parents. She wants to move back if we can move back in there. So that set up there on fire. And I say, no, I'm not going with your parents. You know how they are, especially your dad. And I will stay here. And that's when everything started getting just that point. And that's when I told her, we need to calm down. You breastfeeding the kid and you cannot lacting right now. That's fine. Might be just fine. The nurse. I don't need no nurse. And we have a person that's supposed to gonna help us with that. And she didn't want to call us. They didn't want to call that nurse for that. So that's when I started the silverboards. The silverboards started just going. So I left. When I left the moment, I told my landlord actually, and she said, I heard everything. You guys live in my house, so I hear everything. So she was the witness. By the time all of a sudden, like a half an hour, we had them, the police officer coming over, say they were in there to separate us. If I remember, that is what I said. We're here to separate, and you need to stay here. We're just gonna help her to take all the stuff off, and whatever it was just the clothes and the clothes for my son. And I asked why she lives. Then it's not. That's my kid. Yes, but he's little. He's little. He needs to go with the mom. That's the officer told me. And my landlord was in a presence in there too. She was listening the whole thing. She didn't get involved with them physical, but she just said, just let them be. Which is, I'm glad that happened. Because sometimes people, they can be out of their hands, might be doing different ways. And I'm glad that she told me about that. Just let it be, and that's how I find out. That's where I became to a father project, because she has a friend, Kathy. She got a friend there that works in there, and that's how I became to the father project. That's the way that I started to find ways how to go to court, to file for that motion.
So at that point in time, she was wanting to go move the whole family, you and little Bill, into her parents' house, and you didn't want her to do that because of the situation. And then it sounds like she got angry and was throwing things, and it was heard around the community and then, a half an hour went by, everything had calmed down and diffused, but then the police came. And at that point, she gathered up her clothes and left with little Bill. Do you remember the moment she was going out the door with little Bill? Do you remember saying goodbye to little Bill? Something about that moment that she was leaving, if you could just remember what was said or done at that moment by either you, her, could even be the police.
The only thing I remember, are you gonna do this? And she ignoring me the whole time. She just wham, and I wanted to just give you a hug, little Bill, by that time, but then they told me not to. There was 3 police officer. One of them it was down, making sure they take the staff. The other one was attacking with somebody, and the one of them was with me and just told me just to stay and remain here. I said sure. I'm not going against that.
So what you remember is you were trying to say to her, are you really going to do this? Those are the words. Are you really going to do this? And her just ignoring you. So does that mean she didn't look at you? Does that mean she was just walking around gathering her clothes and Bill? So what was said or done by her was just she wasn't looking at you. She was ignoring you. Is that it?
What I felt, she was guided by their parents, because everything has been guided by the parents. It's like at the same thing they've been guided from the family and her parents about to move without any consent. So this has been going on. I heard early about some trauma early. Somebody were talking about that. It might be there's something in there that might be they've been experienced about the grandpa say whatever he says is that's the way it is. As a growing adult, I believe that you can make your own choices and learn from yourself. And I don't know if that has something to do with that. I'm not here, that is way back in that time, because I can relate that. I forgive that. I hope they forgive me too if I did something as well. But what I believe, that time is gone. But this scenario where we are now is different, because by that time I found peace. I found help. That I can see Junior. Now that he's older, I believe that he needs even more from me. Why? Because he's been learning good things. He's starting been learning, which is the Lord. A lot of kids don't have that. A lot of kids in this state don't have that. There's no role models. They can teach what Christ is about. And Bill has that. And now that he's over there with the mom, they don't do that.
So now let's come up to the present point. So at that point, she was ignoring you. She was just leaving with little Bill. And so coming up to the present, I think you said something about her just moving. Can we get to that day when she just left, or where you were, where Bill was, who's now 11, at that point when she took off? What day was it?
Actually, it was 2 weeks after my son's birth. That was August, Tuesday, around 6 or 7 in the evening. And that's when I knew that she was just doing something on the phone, because I went to talk to my landlord regarding about that. She heard the moving and she say what's going on in there, and so that's what I came in outside and I say, yeah, I sounds like she wants to move, but I not wants to move with her parents. I told her the story and she say, I heard a little bit about that. So one thing that I don't know how all this happening, that was so fast, but that she wants to just move, even though with me, and we never were married. So at some point I'm happy about that, because I don't have to go for the process of my divorce as well. I never been married. But the the part that was the for me that was her, it's like they didn't acknowledge that at least I can say bye to my bill. And I don't know. I think that's been too long now that I just let it go that already. That part. Now the part that is like what we've been through by this year is the one about it feels different, but it's still kind of sort of something in there that I believe that we can just do this in a different way.
So you went back to when Bill was 2 weeks old or so, and at that point in time, she just ignored you and did what she wanted to do, moving Bill out of the house. And she had mentioned that you could all live in your parents' house, but she was just her parents. So she was just ignoring you, and you were saying, "Are you really going to do this?" Okay. And now bring us up to present moment when you found out that she had moved with Bill to Mankato.
So I didn't find out that my son was moving to Mankato. I find out through my son, not through Molly's. Never been communication, and we were just coming from church. We're coming from church with two of my friends from church. We're coming with my son. She asked me if she can pick it up Bill from church. While we were coming outside, Molly came and said, "You can go to the car. Can I speak with you for a second?" I said, "Sure." I was like, out of guard because she never has that. And the only thing she says, just letting you know that I'm moving to Mankato. And we move right now, today. And that was in July the 31st or the 30th of this year. And I told her and the people that were around me heard me and they're witness about this. Are you moving with Bill without my consent and court consent? Do you remember what our judge says about this? I care less. That's what she says. I care less. I'm not going to wait forever. I don't want to live with my parents anymore. I want to live with my man. And I'm the mother and I can do whatever I want. Pretty much exactly what she just told to the judge. The people was telling something and she just want to do it on her own. Doesn't matter. So there is no laws to stop anyone. I believe there has got to be a laws about this. So she moved. That's what I went to on my that Saturday. Monday went to fill up the papers for the emergency motion regarding about that. And that whole month I had my son for just a month, just because this incident. And we have a hearing through the emergency motion on the 8th, and that's what she hired, the attorney. They didn't have no money and stuff, but I don't know where she has money, and the attorney say I got hired on to defend this case. So, for what I know, it's not cheap, to get an attorney. I don't have the funds for that. So how all this coming that all of a sudden has money and all those things, and now I feel like this person get away whatever they want, and so what am I at? A doormat? So people can do whatever they want? Just because I'm a believer doesn't mean somebody can just do that. Because I'm not going to treat anyone any different. Not to mention when I do something, I ask for permission. But now this case is just out of hand. I really don't know what happened from one temporary order to another temporary order, because right now I have a temporary order that is not established yet until in 2 weeks. I've been trying to find anything through my finances and trying to find them, the attorney, and I called few places, and one place told me 2 months ago they will be able to find me somebody, and I just got called recently about he hasn't find any volunteer because he hasn't find them, and I've been calling him, and he can tell you how many times I call, and I've been trying to find other people, and they're pretty spendy. I live by myself. I just came back from my finances, and I still pay for what I was behind before, and I'm glad that I have a job. Not saying that I cannot do this. Of course, I can do this, but right now, all these things came out of nowhere. I just think to myself, what I need to do. And when I heard there probably will be somebody around that can support, or maybe just help, or maybe I can help somebody through this, it was through my friend Rich and his wife, asking about what's going on here. What can I do? I'm kind of like it's out of my hand. And you just told me about you. That's what I called you that day, Michelle. And I want to know what I need to do. So,
teaching moment. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is find the act, what was said or done that you're bringing to a circle or want to bring to a circle. I think we have found that. And at this point, sometimes this is one pre-circle. At this point, sometimes these can go on. I'm cutting this short because I could probably be talking with Bill a lot more, or listening to Bill a lot more. I'm just cutting it short for educational purposes. But what I'm going to ask Bill next is if he wants to consent to the circle, and we have some papers for that. They're in your program where he just fills out, and then and he may say yes or no, and then I'm going to ask him who needs to be there. And I'm not going to judge who he needs to be there. I didn't tell you this, but Benedictus's case settled in a circle. And when I sat with his circle keeper, he wanted the school, after we did our post circle with the circle keeper, he wanted the school secretary to be there. And I was just like, why would this person be here? And they told me, don't judge who needs to be there. So I'm going to ask him who needs to be there. He's hearing this, but we can't judge who needs to be in that circle. And then what happens is you have to go pre-circle all of them. So you're going to the idea is, I'll just assume, I don't like to assume, that he wants Molly to be in a circle. He might want his son to be in the circle. I have to go talk with Molly. And so you have to figure out what was said or done. You have to figure out the act. And the act is that he was ambushed at the school, and that's my judgment coming in, but he was at the school having a nice day with his son, and he was told what was said or done is, I'm moving today, and I'm moving right now.
Sure.
At church. So back to the issue. So I figured out that you might want to have a circle about this move. And who do you think needs to be there in the circle? Or is there somebody that needs to be there that won't come? Who do you think needs to be in the circle?
I would like to have Bill Jr. to be there. I think he's deserved to see exactly why we are in there.
So you're consenting to a circle. And you want to obtain consent, but if he says no, do you want to do a circle?
I would love to, but I don't know how this can hurt his feelings, Bill Jr., just to have him in there. I would love to have an advocate. People, they're learning this process, even. Because like I say over the phone, if in this case can help somebody in life, if in my case it will be the case that I can help somebody, definitely we can do it.
So, teaching moment. What's happening here, this almost always happens, is he doesn't know he's the one that starts the circle. He just has to consent. I don't have to get everybody else to consent right now. He's the circle starter. It takes one. So, you can start a circle with something you've read in the newspaper, by the way. That's happened. So that's what's happening here, and sometimes I just don't know how to explain that, and maybe I just explain it that simply, that we're going to do our best to put this together. You just have to be the circle starter. I'm not the circle starter. We're the facilitators. You're the circle starter.
Do you understand what a circle is?
Can you explain it, please?
Okay, well, that's another thing. They don't know what a circle is, so we'll add it to our PowerPoint, or they're not focused when they come in on. He's focused on court. It's very obvious, and but so all of you are going to have the same trouble I've had. But then once we get it going, it's beauteous. It really is. And I'm giving my judgments here. I hope it's beauteous for you, but. What you're going to have to learn as you do this is that first you find the act. That's a big thing. And typically it's this kind where there's a few people in the circle. But we've had circles with lots of people if they're at schools or in other types of communities. If it's a criminal matter, there's been more than 5 people in the circle. So now I'm going to just for teaching purposes, you're consenting to the circle, okay? Okay. And then I'm asking you, who needs to be there? So.
I can try to.
Still in a teaching moment here. I guess one thing you had asked, and Karen had said, do you even know what a circle is? So, and that's what the great part of this process is, communication. Glad you asked. And Karen will respond to that. Right?
Yeah, I can do my best. Yeah. Okay. So a circle is a way for you and Molly to discuss the issue at hand. This what I want to say root cause, but that's my scientific part of me coming out. So the thing that she said was the issue, which was her taking him away. So and moving. So what a circle will do would be to, and what she's going to do is talk to Molly the same way, so she can find out what Molly's take is on the whole situation, and then once she gets that take, and if you want your son to be Bill to be in on this circle, she would do the same thing with him and get his take on it. So she's kind of getting everybody's feelings and things out. And then she's going to put the 3 of you together. And she's not going to judge, or she's not going to say, you're doing the wrong thing, you're doing the right thing, you're doing the wrong thing. She's not going to do that. She's going to she knows all 3 sides of the story, and she's going to probably facilitate that so that everybody, I don't know exactly what she's going to do, but the 3 of you are going to be able to talk to each other. You're not going to talk to her anymore because she already knows the story. So then is that about right?
So my question is everybody in the circle trained in circle keeping? That's my first question. The second is that there are a number of concerns that I have as a person who's trained in circle keeping about involving a minor child in a circle when you have conflict between 2 parents and the child is 11 years old. So that is a space for inquiry and a teaching moment. And I'm not judging, but I think that it's because because your question, Karen, was really good. Do you know what circle is? So if I were in circle, I would describe the circle process all over again, which is what you taught this morning about what circle is, and then I would introduce the content. So it's two separate things. That's just my little... And then I got nervous about the child because I'm sitting here thinking, coming from a child, I'm 54 and I still remember my parents and their divorce and throwing us in the middle of the divorce that took 5 to 6 years. So this is no right or wrong because this is all a learning experience for all of us. So that's why I asserted myself here.
Well, it's a good point because you're all going to have those judgments. Okay. I said, I think in the beginning, if I was going to describe a circle, she described it exactly the way it is. I mean, he's starting one, he's consenting, but the way I was taught, and I think it's one of the better ways, if you can do it, is I did a pre-circle with him, and I would go out to Molly and do a pre-circle with her, and Molly might have her mom and dad that she wants to be in the circle. So this could go on very big. At the end of this, you're going to get what I call the Restorative Circle Mat-In Guide that kind of guides you as a facilitator through this. But, you know, was I thinking, oh, it's a child? Yes, I was. Okay, that's my judgment. But at this point, we don't plan right now. Okay, we're not telling him, he might not, this might happen without me doing a pre-circle. I'm just trying to explain to you all of the different steps. But I've done circles where I've been sitting here with a tenant and I call the landlord on the phone and I get those two talking. It's about getting them in the room talking to each other. Okay? So, yes, a little it's a teaching moment. I pretty much, I mean, I know in my brain, he has joint legal custody. He can bring his kid to a circle if he wants. Okay? I'm not a judge. I'm not a guardian ad litem. I'm not his attorney. I'm not in any kind of a box. I am just facilitating this circle. And I'll tell you, in Benedictus' case, guess who came to the circle? His son. And guess who else was in the circle? The aunt. And guess who else was in the circle? The secretary at the school. Okay? So and did we do pre-circles with them? Yes. And we did it at a library, and there was, so I can't, if I'm in my head saying Molly will never come, I don't know their relationship. He's telling me, I've had clients say they'll never do it. Almost everyone's going to say, well, she won't come. Oh, you can't get my son there because of the courts, things like that. We cannot judge that because this is a fluid process. But that was going through my head, and that's what I'm here for. Like, if you have any struggles, because I'm like the lead advocate that knows the laws and the ins and the outs. That's why we ask on our intake sheet, is there any court involved? I asked him, is there any court orders? Are there any restraining orders? Didn't I? Are there any no contact orders? I didn't have the sheet with me, but I asked him, because then there's an issue, a real issue in a circle, if somebody has a restraining order or something like that. So I asked him about his custody. You know, he had legal custody. So I did all that just as the intake, but that's what I'm here for, and the other attorneys is just exactly, Louisa's not an attorney, but she knows that could be an issue. But I don't know why it would be an issue for a circle keeper. I really don't. If he can get the kid there, he's the father. Right? Me talking with the kid beforehand without him there might be kind of, I don't think I'm just going to leave the circle and call little Bill at all. I'm not wanting to involve, but he's already involved in the court. I mean, let's face it, he's already in the middle of a court issue. This is not court. This is getting everybody together. So yes, those are good points, but you're not going to judge who's in the circle at this stage of the game. You would probably leave. You'd get the contact information of who needs to be there, and then you'd probably have, I guess this is a good teaching moment, probably be wondering, should I go talk to his kid without a parent there? Courts do it all the time. Judges do it all the time. Guardian ad litem's doing it all the time. Child protection does it all the time. It should not be done that way, ever, ever, ever. So I follow just the rule of gut feeling, when I do it. So, we have another question?
If like both parents were gonna be like in the circle, would you still have the kid in the circle? Like if you don't know the parents, like the context or like the trauma that the kid's been through, or like what's gonna come up with the parents. Like I didn't know if by bringing up like having a kid, like I'm assuming it's different with one parent than two, or like were you saying, oh yeah, no, I thought about that, but it's not a problem to have a kid in the circle. I'm just curious about the context, just because of my own life experience.
Here's where the consent comes in. Do you think I'm going to force the kid to come into the circle? Nobody is going to force anybody. This is a complete consent process. In class, there could be a breakdown. I'm not going to force Molly to be in the circle. So I know even the pre-circle helps people. I just know that, just from experience. And I'm not the circle I'm the facilitator, but I'm not the circle keeper at this point. Once they're all in the room, then I'm more of the circle keeper and to keep the space for. So what you're going to do is who needs to be there. Usually it's one or two other people. You're just going to write down their names and their numbers, and then you're going to call them or contact them. Sometimes what happens is the client just says, oh, I'll just call him. He'll be there, da-da-da-da-da. We've done, it's that way. And they think it's their role, and so I let that happen too. Like if they can get 4 people here, then I'm not because everybody pretty much knows the core issue. I let that happen too. So again, these are all the little rules, the little regulations, just like the court system, but it just happens kind of in a fluid manner. But technically, you do a pre-circle with Molly in this case. And I'm probably not, I don't know if that's going to happen. Because I'll probably invite one of you to call Molly and do a pre-circle with her. So, or I might do it before the next week. I'm not sure how this is going to go. Go ahead.
Could you do like a pre-circle with Bill at 9 a.m., a pre-circle with Molly at 9:30, and then the group circle at 10? Could you do it all in the same day?
So that's another one of those beautiful questions. If everybody consents, you can. They're just put together. I'm just trying to explain to you what the recipe is. But sometimes everything's just thrown in. You throw in the pepper, you throw in the salt. Let's do this. So you could, and let's say he said, hey, Molly's right in the next room. I think she'll do it. Can you do a pre-circle of her? And I would run to the next room and say, and try to do as best I can. You explain, I'm a facilitator. I'm with Family Innocence. We keep families out of court. We resolve conflicts and injustices peacefully. I'd invite you all to memorize that. It took me a while to memorize it. I'm not good at memorizing. But when you say something like that, right away, they're like, oh, this is good. I want to be kept out of court. Sometimes they have preconceived notions about mediations as well. This is a community because we care about you and we care about your son, your 11-year-old son, and we even care about Molly. We're not neutral. That's called multi-partial. We try to love everybody just like you explained in your talk. So yes, it can happen very quickly. Like it was really cool with the link. I've been experimenting in this because I'm a recipe person. Oh, I got to go do a pre-circle. And then, I'll call up the guru and I'll say, but we didn't do a pre-circle. Well, no, they're coming. Don't worry about it. They know what the act is. She's going to know what the act is, whether I do a pre-circle or not. The thing about the work that we're going to be doing is the longer you spend time here, it's on the short end. So I could do a pre-circle do more pre-circle work. I could go to Molly and spend a couple of hours with Molly, and then when they're together, and then I'm going to show you the dialogue process, and they're talking to each other, it could be quick, right? So Tom's raising his voice. So this is, I don't want to call it hard work, but you have to have, I call it sustained compassion, sustained patience, self-control. Like, I have all the answers right now in my legal head, and I don't want to, you know what I mean? I'm not going to fix anything. They're going to do it themselves, and what we do here, they're going to take away, and they're going to live their lives, and it's going to be even better for all of them. This is my prediction. This is my prayer for you. It's going to be even better, because he was a godsend right now for this program. And I thank you for being willing. Here's another thing about our process is that we have substitutes. Remember I told you that? So I'm gonna pick somebody to be Molly, and we're gonna actually have the circle, and then I'm gonna pick somebody to be the child, the 11-year-old. I won't pick. I'll just, whoever wants to consent to volunteer to do that, and then we're gonna have the circle with the family. We use in circle what's called substitutes.
I just don't want to get in the middle. I'm scared.
Bill isn't talking.
Who are you to just speak lies?
My mom started throwing things, and then the police came and took my dad away.
That bike is sexy. Growing up, I was living a lie. In the darkness, I was scared of the light. With no direction, I was running away. I tried to cover that I'm losing my mind. Now it's over. I wonder, yeah. A new beginning, it's a new way of life. Another chapter, why not give it a try? This hopeful journey needs an open mind to discover the treasure inside. I'm The clouds are running away. I can see the colors every day. I walked away from the fire, and now I'm living in grace. You never know the world until you open your eyes. Never see the truth until you look past the lies. Mother Nature is waiting for you to arrive. Step outside, step outside. Enjoy the ride. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do-do-do-do-do. Enjoy the ride.
So Michelle is going to leave us with the Family Innocence theme song. We know it's going to be catching on everywhere. So take it away, Michelle.
And I won't have my husband Tom sing with me this time.
Or me.
You guys are all blessed.
Okay. Camera. Start spreading the bird. Beginning today. We want to be no part of it. The family court. The bird is the word. It's flying away to make a brand new start of it. No family court. We want to wake up in a household where we can sleep instead of fearing a judge ready to peep. These family court blows are melting away. We will get to the heart of it with no delay. If we can do it here, we'll do it everywhere. No family court, no family court. One more line. If it is not a crime, we are not doing time in family court. No family court.
Hollywood, really cool.